Aloha and welcome to the Microbial Secret Society, where David and I dive deep into the microbial realm and initiate you into the Microbial Secret Society. So enjoy our podcast. The first hour is always free, and the second hour is only available to members at microbialsecret.org. So thank you, and let's begin.
Aloha, welcome to another episode of the Microbial Secret Society.
Yeah, welcome to the show, and thanks for tuning in. Dave, just before we started the show, David was talking to me and telling me he wanted to get into some topic that he had boiling over.
Yeah, it's almost like meant to be shared in an hour or two, but I feel like we can maybe just like gently talk about it and maybe go more in depth about it later. But yeah, last night I had this dream that I felt like I got abducted by aliens and they were doing this like surgery on me. And it was like super vivid, and I woke up and I like was in the dream and it felt real, and I saw a mirror and I could see like my reflection of myself. And typically in dreams, like clocks and mirrors and those types of things during your astral travels don't necessarily like exist. And it was just kind of really startling. So I don't know if you want to talk about the correlation between microbes and like alien. And then I was just like researching about like psychic surgeries and all these different like accounts, and I don't know. I was maybe I got a little bit fear based over it, but when I told Mandy about it, she was really like, oh, that's awesome. Like, I wish that would happen to me, and like all these types of things, but I don't know.
Well, I'm into it. I mean, that sounds like it's an episode of the Microbial Secret Society of the aliens and extraterrestrials, but largely the microbes that are in the soil that are just as mysterious. So I always am a proponent of as above, so below. So like studying bigger systems and seeing how they relate to micro systems may happen. And if you think about it in a certain degree, when we're making a seed IMO collection, and we're going and putting out rice or some sort of starch and then collecting it, in essence, we're abducting a whole society, like a whole colony of microbes that has colonized that over a 3 to 5 day period, which is about 1,000, 2,000 years in their time scale. And then we're abducting them and then putting them into this carbon, stasis of the sugar as a preserved seed IMO. So I see many parallels. I mean, just to kind of start this off with a thread of relating it to the secret society as kind of a tangent expose, but I would love to hear about your trippy dream here.
You'd like to hear about it?
Yeah, I mean,
it was just I don't know. I fell asleep and I felt like during the dream that they were doing this like type of like surgery and stuff on me, like on my teeth and like my neck and like my brain and stuff. And I remember like looking in the mirror and then like seeing like these like different almost like mineral elements, rocks in like each of the teeth, and they were almost like pyramids, and they were like in the teeth, they're like pyramids on, and that's what I saw. And then it just felt like I was like they would do all these things and like like almost like do things like on the body, like a surgery almost, like taking things out, putting things in, like you don't really know what's kind of going on. And then I felt like I was almost like put into like a simulator, and then I would like endure like some sort of like experience in a different realm, and then it would like happen again. They would like put more of those like metal teeth in and all that stuff, and then I don't know. And then eventually, like, I just like when after I saw myself, I felt like I was like I woke up, and then I like woke up, and I felt like kind of normal, like my body wasn't in pain or stuff. But during the dream, it felt really painful, like I was experiencing like tremendous like physical pain, which isn't typical during like a dream that I've experienced. So it was just kind of wild.
So how do you know this was like aliens abducting?
I don't know that to be true. It's just speculation.
'Cause it sounds to me like you had this dream of where your body was being assembled and disassembled and reassembled, almost like a prototype to try different parts, and then to put your body into like this simulator, which maybe is this human reality. Like who knows how real it is, but they're like prototyping your body, and somehow your consciousness is remembering multiple iterations of this evolution process and like upgrades to you. It's interesting you think about like pyramids in your teeth. How did you see that?
How did I see it?
Yeah, like your teeth are teeth, but how did you see the pyramids in there you were talking about?
It was they weren't like they were teeth like like in the teeth spot, but they were like pyramids, and they were cut perfectly and symmetrically, and it was just like instead of having like where teeth would be, it would be like a bunch of like pyramids that were like different colors and like like I don't know, not like like bright colors, more like metally kind of colors with different shines to them.
So the way you were seeing your body was not necessarily in your human form.
No, it was like my human form with those things like instead of teeth.
With like upgrades, kind of like like a different like cyborg part replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I wonder if that that I wonder what teeth represent in terms of the dream realm and like seeing pyramids there. So which part of your body was the pain in?
During the dream, or was the pain? I feel like in my mouth and in like my whole like upper region, like my neck and my head and stuff. Oops.
You gotta watch out for that table there, man. Huh. So pain in your upper body, your teeth, like where they were operating, where they were changing things.
Yeah.
And if you were to interpret this dream not as like a cyborg being upgraded, like as if this was like a waking dream, like a reality that you somehow saw this bigger thing, but you were to interpret it more in terms of a symbol, like being a representation of things, what do you feel like this dream was trying to tell you in your life?
To maybe be more mindful of like the aspects that you can like choose to improve upon, and like maybe not directly relating it to like physical, but like emotional, spiritual, all these different aspects of oneself, being able to like try something new, and like allow. I feel like there's a big surrendering process, because it was like this thing that I felt like I didn't want to happen during it for some reason. So maybe like learning to let go of those things that you can't like control. And I don't know, it's definitely kind of interesting to say the least. But
Yeah. So last few nights I felt like I haven't slept that well. I feel like I go to sleep, but then like when I wake up, it's like, oh, was I sleeping? And I have this like uh, empty type feeling, like as if like the cartridge wasn't put back in or something. Uh, to like during my night's sleep.
like a recharge, almost. Like if you're equating like a peaceful rest is like a recharge, like you're waking up the next day with like all this energy and all this mana, and then you're feeling like that battery wasn't charged when you woke up, and you're like, did my batteries get recharged? Did I even rest or sleep?
Sort of, yeah. I'm feeling that way, but it's more of like a tangible feeling of when I'm first waking up, when I'm like between dream and waking up. I'm like right before the sun's rising, or as the sun's rising, I'm kind of waking up, and I feel this like clutching my pillow type of feeling, and feeling that like the pillow feels like empty. And it's only like a dream state that you can have these type of feelings about objects, and how like clutching, like if you were like, like versus sometimes most times I wake up in the morning and I feel like my bed is like supporting me, and I'm like on there and my pillow's supporting me and the sheets are around me in a way that like has bundled me and kept me warm, and I've had like a nice like peaceful restful night's sleep. But these last couple mornings I've been waking up clutching the pillow and feeling like it was like empty, like as if I was like my bed wasn't there supporting me under, and the sheets are like thin and like cold is seeping through them kind of thing, just like this feeling of like not waking up with this like. And I felt like it wasn't that feeling that happens there is not just like those physical conditions, but it's like a feeling that's transitioned from whatever dream I was previously having to this, like sort of like maybe some like struggle type of thing in my dream, and then coming at right as I'm waking up, I'm feeling like this, like, oh, it was unfulfilled, like I didn't make it, like, oh, I didn't, I wasn't doing something right, or like this, it, and so I've been waking up with that feeling. Not that I've had alien surgery happening to me at night, but a more unsettling thing. And I got a lot on my plate lately.
Got a lot on your plate lately. You feel like you're moving like full speed ahead with natural farming and what that all means for the rest of the world.
Yeah. Hopefully people appreciated the last episode, and you said you checked it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But as just, you hear me kind of get into like a tangent, like talking for a whole hour of just like wanting to see the world be a better place, and trying to figure out how that mirrors over this other world of how systems that are kind of non-functional, or so far from nature, they're so man-made that they don't overlay onto nature very well anymore. Like for instance, our political system, where it's so man-made. We have laws about this and that and this and that, and we have but it doesn't account for nature anymore. Of like universal health care for all. Well, nature doesn't necessarily give you health care. It doesn't necessarily, your health care is eating good food. And so we make these laws, these mandates of laws, and it doesn't represent nature anymore. And so that struggle of bridging these worlds is kind of been talking about natural farming, but how do we realign our culture back to not the man-made laws, but the natural ways of living
and natural law? So like how to align ourselves with the laws and the principles of nature and what we can observe from it, and becoming in tune with that on a bigger scale.
Yeah. And I mean, in just simply spreading more microbes. Like I've been in a lot of this last couple weeks since I've been back from DC, I've been sprayed my garden about 4 times, and got the tractor sprayer going, and just taking care of the farm. And I was thinking about getting my car sprayer going again.
Oh, right on.
And just spraying the roadsides, and on its simplest level, just like taking direct action to increase and enhance our microbiome. And maybe I feel like maybe I've been slacking on that a bit. Like I could be super gun ho and go, but I Ching talks about the persistent energy towards a goal. And my goal is really to inspire people, like constantly, like doing this show, inspiring people to restore the microbiome, become conscious and aware of it, and assist and enhance it. And so that's
well, I feel inspired by your visit here today, of things that I maybe view as overwhelming or huge obstacles or things that I know I need to do, but yeah, giving words of encouragement of how to do those and become more like gung ho and more into what the life that we're co-creating, what we choose to spend our day with and stuff.
Yeah. Well, so today we're here at David's place, and he just got this sweet piece of land in Hawaiian Acres, and he invited me over here to record the podcast today, and he gave me a little tour as soon as I got here, and even forgot my coffee down in his cave, but that's okay. Um, but what I noticed is that I came over here and I immediately had some observations and some suggestions like, oh, do this, do that. And in each of these, do this, do that, that was like 5 days of work, like 600 man hours, or like, these tasks that I was just saying, oh yeah, just simply do this, do that. Right. and I know that, and I can, and being here with my experience, I can make some good suggestions, which were to move the big rocks out of the field while you can see them, stack them in one area. Also, sow a cover crop right now because the weeds haven't come in too thick. And if you get a good beneficial cover crop down, your whole ecosystem will thrive better than just random weeds, which it's okay, but balance that. And so those couple tasks there alone, and spraying the area, and then every place that's ponding, which there's a few areas on this land that water ponds, to plant water loving plants, and then use those to chop and drop on your other crops because they'll grow so fast with so much water and nutrients. But those are my suggestions, but those are all like many man hour projects, bringing more mulch in here. And so what I wanted to get to with all that and those suggestions is that it's so easy for me to come over here as like a consultant or as like a friend or something and to say these things, but to actually put them into practice. Like my friend Joel came over to my farm the other day, and I have a pathway through the valley over towards the chickens, and you cross over that barbed wire fence. How many times have you climbed that?
At least like 50 times, maybe 100. I don't know, a lot.
More times than should be before we build some sort of thing to go over that, right?
Or like a like a little entry or something, like a gate or
right. Yeah. I climb over this fence every day at least 2-3 times, maybe, like and Joel was there and he's like, you can just build an A-frame over this, and it would save me how much time and energy and effort. Like you probably wasted like an hour of your life climbing this gate in the 2 months you were there, like, or however, like, so what I'm saying is, like, I come over here, easy for me to make a suggestion, like pick up all these rocks. Joel comes to my place, easy to make a suggestion, like, just build an A-frame. But as a land tenure person, you're so busy with just like the maintenance of doing this, doing that, and the upkeep, that it's hard to continue to like, spend, like, I should make an A-frame over that. It would save me time and energy and money. But finding the time to fit all that in the day and have enough energy to like do it all, there's so much on a farm. Like, if as a person in a city, you go to work and you do that grind, but then you're just grabbing food someplace, which is expensive, and you got to hustle. But then you're not having to spend time upkeeping your lawn, or like keeping trees from being swallowed, or worrying about animals breaking out, or all these other things that as farmers we have. So here, making suggestions, but really what should and could be done is getting together with the farmers union and strengthening our community relations. Because a project like that, to clear the boulders out of your field, is going to take you a long time, just because it's boring by yourself. It's hard, unless you really set yourself to it, you're probably not going to do it before the weeds swallow those things. But if you had a team of people that came over, 10, 15 people with the right equipment, that could be done in an hour, maybe 3 hours.
Yeah, many hands make light work. So yeah, building more community and realizing that these projects on farms and stuff could take a lot of energy and effort by one person, but could be really much more easy with others.
Yeah. Well, even seeing the problem or seeing the opportunity is one thing. Doing it is a whole nother.
Yeah, putting it into action requires a whole nother consciousness to put it in. But I mean, I like the rocks. I really love rocks. So we'll see. But yeah, I want to move them. I just didn't know if like it made more sense to just leave them, but in the sense that if you left them and you sprayed them enough and drenched them, that maybe they would turn into soil. But I definitely agree for ease of like traveling in the orchard and stuff and getting a truck back through there, that you don't want to be running over gigantic rocks. So definitely need to centralize them. But once they get centralized, that whole maybe all the rocks can get turned into soil at a centralized location. But
yeah, centralize them and then spray that, and then they'll break down into an amazing soil thing happening. Yeah, because like even though IMOs break down rock, those are big boulders. they're gonna be there for at least 10, 15 years.
Yeah, they'll be there for a little bit.
So you're probably gonna want to run a machine through there in that time, or run through the field. Like imagine you could just run through the field with your children. Just running through there, playing with them. If there's boulders, it's like, oh, bro.
Yeah. So being able to, I feel like if I can move the rocks and then cover crop and then mulch and then like maybe like introduce like mound tech,
pile tech,
and create piles and then spray around them and plant like different perennials and things that will do well in an orchard, and then just have it kind of grow more.
Sounds good to me. You seem like you're like saying it like as if you're like asking a question, but it sounds like you should have confidence in that. So
yeah, more confidence in it.
Yeah, it's just a lot. I mean, but just making it happen. Like that's what I'm trying to do with my farm right now. Is I'm getting closer to getting a dump trailer, and I felt good today. I drove out here, my F-150, and the back is like fully loaded. I got 2 bags of wood chips or wood shavings from my friend Arthur, and then I filled the whole back with 800 pounds of papaya. So I got it fully loaded. But what I want to do is get a dump trailer, and every time I'm going around, just be able to fill that thing with wood or rocks or some sort of material, branches, coconuts. Just roll up to some place, and people that are unwanted of that just load it in, drive to my place, and just dump it. So that my whole banana patch can just have like mounds of in pile tech, but of lumber or wood that someone cut down, or and just mound that stuff up, but strategically so that I can get my machine on like roadways and
so strategically placing your mounds so you can access them easily.
Yeah. But same thing would be super effective here, and it's just a matter of like trailer on your truck because you're driving back and forth, and every time bringing some sort of material. It's just like and if you could pull into your spot, drive up that driveway, and just unload your dump trailer, just boom, like I don't know, that's the farmer's ideal.
Yeah, nice little spot to...
And I say you, but it's me. That's my vision. I don't want to impress that upon you. Yeah, you don't have to get a dump trailer. But I just want to make life easy. Unloading the back of a truck is like, oh man, So I just want to be able to push a button and dump it and use gravity.
Yeah, it makes it, especially for like mulch and stuff. I mean, anything really, but you can fill that up in Hilo. They offer it in Waikoloa with, it's like unlimited mulch.
Yeah.
Whereas Hilo, they put limits on them.
Yeah, but then just driving the mulch from Waikolo over here is not necessarily worth it. They do move like a bunch of Magnut mulch from Ka'u to Hilo, but that's only because the trucks would be running back empty. So like any mulch moving service, you'd have to find one where you're
going
moving a product one way and you're coming back empty, and now you got to market to like bring that mulch back. So if you're delivering all your fruits that are off the hook, whole semi truck to Waikoloa to the hotels, and then bringing back all that mulch.
Yeah, that'd be really beneficial to, make the trip worthwhile, to have a delivery out and then a delivery in. I mean, I was thinking they could also just like deliver it. What if they're in Waikoloa, then they come, they pick up the mulch, they deliver it, and then they fill up in Hilo, and then they go back.
Fill up in Hilo with what?
Mulch.
You're just driving mulch back across the island?
I don't know.
I don't.
I don't know. I mean, someone brought mulch here, and they got it from Waikoloa, so that's why I was
maybe they're going already,
mm-hmm.
or they're just paid for it, because who knows? I mean, it just seems like towing mulch like a decent sized load is probably at least $50 in fuel.
So what's the solution? Because that's not sustainable at all. I mean, it's like a cheat code almost, because it really helps if you have a bunch of mulch, but like growing mulch, or
so the other thing that's happening in David's orchard is there's albizia popping up, which is notorious in Puna because I believe they used to fly airplanes over and throw albizia seed out here, just to, I don't know, that's what they did back in the day. So there's albizia seed everywhere because it grows out here, but it's known as a widowmaker tree, so that when it grows up big, branches just fall randomly, and when those hit you, they kill you. That's why they call it a widowmaker, just like kills people. So the whole key to those trees is to keep them short and manageable, so you're not creating a hazard, because albizia will grow up 100 feet out here no problem, and then now that's a big hazard because it's going to drop branches and break things and fall on your house. But it's very well suited to grow out here. It grows really fast. It's a nitrogen fixer. The leaves are amazing. You can make all kinds of stick mulch with it, and growing a lot, so you can chop it with a machete or a little chainsaw, go right through it. That's your nitrogen fixing albizia, already wild sprouting in your area. And it's just a matter of keeping those trees manageable, mm-hmm. and encouraging them. And that's already and then you have the Vivi too, which you were talking about chopping it and then laying it down and making like a tatami mat of Vivi, which I think they're gonna resprout, and I don't know. I mean, go for it if you want to spend that kind of time and energy at it, but do you have a chainsaw?
No, not yet.
Do you know how to sharpen a chainsaw?
No.
So there's a lot to get between gap where you're at and what like solutions to like mm-hmm. implement. And that's the challenge of farming, is not only like, okay, so you got to know how to grow the tree. Now you got to learn how to sharpen a chainsaw. Now you got to learn how to fix a small 2-stroke engine when you're, and learn how to choke it, learn how to like prime all, a whole chainsaw operation, safety. Then you got to get ear protection, eye protection, face protection, hopefully chaps so you don't cut yourself. And like a whole, just to like cut down trees, now you're in $600, $800 to get that equipment to be able to do it. And now you're the mechanic. Now you got to repair it. Now you got to store it someplace. And so that's like one solution to expedite that. or you could hire somebody or these other things. But as a farmer, that's how my costs like super escalate.
Yeah. I mean, for the guava, I use like a nice little like skill saw. I mean, a chainsaw would be way more quicker, like faster, more efficient and stuff. But I mean, for the time being,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
works.
No, maybe a battery powered skill saw is the way to do it, and it's like that other stuff would be overkill. I don't know.
But I don't think it's overkill because I mean, here on the land, there's lots of ohias and older ones, and there's some that are would appear to be dead. So for it, like you could either try to like spray them and see if they'll regrow and stuff, but just if you wanted to utilize some of the fallen like the tree before it falls, it's good building material wood too. But
Yeah, so harvesting the lumber with that.
though in the spots of the forest where it needs it, not like intentionally cutting down like a thriving ancient living ohia tree, but one that you know
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I mean, and that's the thing about owning stuff, having a thing is all the you gotta pick your right equipment to your right place to your right tasks to build the fertility here in the
hmm
most economic, biological, easy way. So yeah, it's I've been doing it for a few years now, just like trying to manage a whole small family farm. And man, the good news I want to talk about is food hubs.
food hubs.
Yeah. So
What is a food hub?
well, it could be a number of things, right? It's, like to me, food is like stuff you shove in your mouth that somehow tastes good, and it has various qualities to it. That's food. And a hub is something where multiple things come together. Like the hub of a wheel is like the center. It's where all the spokes come in. Um, like so, so putting those two together, um, what you end up with is this place where people put stuff in their mouth, or interchange stuff to put in their mouth. It's kind of an interesting way of describing it, um, but one of the things that we've been doing with Farmers Union is that food hubs are now a priority.
Food hubs are now a priority, so a place where people are able to get local food from a variety of people at a central location.
Right, right. Which so these things, to a degree, these things already exist, like the locavore store.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's like a retail opportunity where you're going in and you can sell produce to them, and then people come by and they buy produce. Yeah. And another is like Island Naturals, where you would go in there, and there's produce there, or there's stuff to buy there.
Mm-hmm.
But largely a lot of that stuff there is from outside.
Yeah, not local.
Or you can go to the farmers market,
Mm-hmm.
and that has food there. And the Hilo Farmers Market is one example of like a thriving market for like over 30 years. Thing is just like banging under those tents. But largely, some of that produce isn't necessarily from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it is from Hawaii, it's from like a package distributor or something. It's not like those farmers there.
It's not necessarily farmers selling their produce there. It's more like, at least from my experience, it's more like someone else is selling someone else's fruit that they weren't the farmer, and the farmer, it's off island or.
Yeah, well, it's like each farmer grows some stuff, but then they all have like tomatoes, they all have onions, they all have garlic. It's like, how the heck did they all have that? It's not like they each grew that. They're
Mm-hmm.
buying it from somebody and then kind of reselling it there. and that if your stand has everything possible, it's more opportunity for your stand to capture more dollars. So they're not necessarily focusing on this idea of, you know, what you sell at your booth is from your farm. You know, it's just via the marketers and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, all those things exist. Those are all existing solutions. But I find in my case, I'm still somewhat frustrated with my food availability.
I would say availability, and then also maybe I think the price. It's like for what we call food and like what we're paying for and what like you receive, you know, it just it's expensive.
So where do you get most of your food right now?
I'd say most of my food comes from the farmers market, like local farmers that supply to the Natch, um, like directly, and then the Natch, and then friends and stuff that grow food, and then obviously trying to grow more food here. So,
Mm-hmm.
but nowhere near close to where I want to be in terms of eating sustainably where I'm living right in this present moment.
Yeah, yeah. So in my case, I eat a lot of food from my own land,
Mm-hmm.
and then some comes from farmers market, where I go to the Hakalau farmers market, try to support the local farmers in my region.
Mm-hmm.
It's a down home market. Almost everyone there is selling their own stuff. There's no resellers. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people who prepare food, so it's not like they grew it all, but you know, but it's of a local market. It's very local. Um, and yeah, and then I eat out. You know, I love going to Lucy's. Yeah, what's up? Uh, and but I don't eat out that often. But oh, I just hit up Kamana Kitchen the other day.
Oh.
It's the royal platter, unreal. But what I'm frustrated with in my food situation is I have feast and famine, and or like so much abundance that I have a hard time moving it in a way where I can realize the value of it. Meaning that for me, when I'll harvest a rack of bananas and I'll have so many bananas, so many hands on there, that I can only eat maybe like 2 hands. So I can maybe eat like 24 to 50 bananas off maybe like 200 to, you know, I don't know.
In
like,
what, a week?
Yeah, like I can only eat like maybe like a quarter of what comes in with bananas. And I could freeze them or I could dehydrate them in more ways, but right now I have such a stream coming in that I pretty much always have ripe bananas. But what happens to me is then I have the other 3/4 of the rack that I either feed to my pigs or I make fermented plant juice, green juice from heaven, and or I or I make vinegar, or sometimes they just get composted, which is probably my least favorite way to get rid of beautiful fruit.
Yeah.
Um, and I also sell it at the market, and I also give it away to people. So I move through a lot of it, but what I would like is to be able to take that rack of bananas, to cut off 2 hands for myself, to cut the rest into hands, bring that down to my food hub, deposit those bananas there, get credit somehow.
Receive a Bitcoin.
Or yeah, whatever, get credit somehow.
Yeah.
Then be able to pick up some other stuff. And you know, and if to me the food hub is driven around farmers, and it's driven around this idea that if I have food, like when I harvest, you know, anything you have, like if your Djibouti kava tree goes off, you know, and you're loaded with these things, or you go out and you harvest your taro, you're going to harvest way more corms than you can eat at one time, and you know, unless you balance it out and you really plan well. But if you do that, then you're going to starve, because if you're just growing enough, something's going to happen. You got to grow more than you need, and then that more than you need should be able to be some value coming back to sustain you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I see with this food hub, is like a way where it's like almost like a grocery store, except for it's almost like a you pick, like you grab your own. But what I want to do with this is have it so when I bring down my thing of bananas, I can check it into like a computerized storage system, and then the store knows, okay, now we got this many more pounds of bananas, and then I want to go onto the internet and be able to order from the inventory that they have of what I want, and then when I come down to drop off the bananas, my box of food is ready.
Like the food that like you would have ordered from the hub.
Yeah, so it's like it's a little bit more sophisticated of a store in terms of we don't have this today. It's almost like a drive-through CSA food hub.
It'd just be like in real time. You would know by like if there was some sort of verification when the produce was dropped off, and then that's verified somehow, and then it's uploaded onto a system where it's just transparent from the other user's perspective, and then they order one or whatever, and then that deducts like how much is available, and then the order is packed up at a certain time. Like once maybe the order's placed, then it's packed up and boxed. And
yeah, so more than like a store where you walk in and you have like a bunch of like shelves and stuff, it's almost more like a warehouse. So the only interface you have to shopping at the store is through an app, and the way to get pickup is just like you just drive up.
But what is that the customer experience though? Like, is that how people like a part of the food is like a part of the process, right? So there's like a fun aspect to like going out to eat, enjoying that atmosphere, or like going to a farm and receiving the food, or even going into a store and going down the different aisles and checking out. There's a whole experience there. And then what you're describing is like you pull up to this warehouse and then you just get this box of food and then that's it. So I think it's a good idea, but I'm just saying it might change the customer experience a little bit. And like, what does that mean in terms of?
Well, yeah, I totally hear you. And there's different experience. This is a good thing to overview. That's kind of why I wanted to open up this idea. I know you're skilled at this. So, what my use case that I'm thinking of here is that people are often leaving Hilo to go to Hamakua for some reason. Maybe they live out along the coast. You know, lots of people live out there. And what I can imagine is that this would be those folks. So what you could do is you could like I can just imagine my mom's friend, or my friend Amy, who works in town and lives out in Pauka'a. Like well, okay. Anyway, she lives out along the coast, about 20 miles out. And I can imagine her being able to, instead of having to go to the farmer's market or go to the grocery store, pick something up, she could just say, like, these are the orders I want to make, hit, and then as she's driving home that day, it's just like you pull in and get it loaded into your car, and then you just continue going. Like, and to have this thing, like, the first one in Popaiko town specifically, like which is where I am, but there's also a few farmers in the region that are natural farmers that I think could supply the co-op, but then also benefit, or the food hub, but also benefit from it. So like part of your market is selling to like the eaters, people that are just going to eat food, but the other part is to really service your farmers and to give them like a way to move product, like a CSA, but not just one farm being the CSA, but many farms in the region being part of your community supported agriculture, which is what CSA stands for.
So what's in the near future of like this coming into fruition through the Farmers Union? And
Well, so one of our goals for Farmers Union is there's 3 of them, and food hubs is one of those 3. So it's a not only it's a legislative priority, but it's also our statewide strategy is to we have 3 food hubs in operation already. There's one in Waianae, there's one in North Kohala, and there's also one in South Kona, or well, in Kona. South Kona, maybe. I haven't been there, but yeah, it's in South Kona, I think. So those 3 are in operation around the state. There's a few more, like Maui is getting a few together, and they operate in different ways. But the idea is again, it's kind of like this hub. It's like the spoke of bringing local food together, and not to compete against farmers markets or anything. It's a different, in my mind, it's a different experience, and it's to benefit really the farmer, but you as an eater get to eat some of the best like produce.
Well, is there any like restrictions on it? Can any kind farmer sell to this hub? Like, what are the rules? Who enforces it? Like, who makes these guidelines and parameters? Like, how can you tell? Like, how can you differentiate just besides taste of the food to know like one was naturally farmed versus one that was chemically farmed or whatever? Like, if you just brought like a hand of bananas from your farm and then a hand of bananas from like a dole or whatever, but
no, there's no restriction on the way you farm it or how you farm it.
okay.
The Farmers Union supports family farming and regenerative agriculture, but those aren't mandatory. Those are just like suggestions. Like we suggest that you have family farms because we want to grow families, and we suggest you regenerate the earth because if we're not, we're going towards depletion. But you don't have to, and there's no judgment on either way of like, every family has its issues, and every soil farmer has times of regeneration and times of degradation, right? Just through the seasons. So there's no like dogmatic bias to that or how you're growing the food. I think one of the things that could be done is to highlight the farmer. So part of the app, as you're shopping through the store, you see some of the data that I've done with Who Grew. We know who grew this and how they did it, and they can tell their story. And I think that's a big appeal to that. And then just as policy, we wouldn't accept food that we know is not grown here. Like it's Farmers Union, you have to be in the union, and if you're just bringing us deliveries of stuff that you just bought some like it's pretty obvious, right? So just as a policy to be like, this is the purpose of it. And then also the other purpose of it is, I said my mom's friend Amy, or my friend Amy, yeah, watch, she's gonna listen to the episode and be like, yeah, she's not my friend. Anyway, then she's gonna be like, I made her voice weird. Anyway, but I think she has some citrus growing at her house, and there's also some other things she has growing in her garden. I think she's growing tomatoes, or she was at one point growing some things. And if she has too much of something, you can always like exchange that. Like that's what I want to get more into is I went off this use case of like somebody pulling in and buying food and leaving. But really what it's about is like the problem that I wanted to solve was my bananas. I have too many. I want to bring those in.
You want some sort of value for them.
Yeah, and all kinds of people have all kinds of abundance all the time. And it's a way that you can, instead of showing up with just money, you show up with like, a bin, like a whole truck full of rambutan.
But then it's like, do you get money, or do you get like a credit or this like new token or this like this arbitrary like value of like that you get this many tokens for a rambutan and this many tokens for an orange or whatever it is based on how many pounds. But then like if the people can't move it, like,
So what I see, that's a good point. It's a good point. What I see the food hub acting as more is a consignment place. So if I bring in that much rambutan and in this package or in this form, like the food hub itself could do some washing and packing type of stuff, but that would have, its own fee associated with it to keep it going. But if I bring in like, a truck full of rambutan, I say I want to sell this for $5 a pound.
Mm-hmm.
And then that money, like some percentage of that goes to the food hub to maintain its operations and to keep it going. And then if the basic agreement, I think from my perspective, which could be worked out in different ways, but would be if you're going to drop this off here, we're going to take it, we'll sell it at your price that you want, and with our fee built in. And then if we end up with it where it rots, you're making a donation to the farmers union. And then part of the food hub perhaps would be like a composting or a system to get those nutrients back to farmers. Mm-hmm. If we don't end up selling them.
Yeah, because what comes up is it's like I feel like the problem is like, how do I share this abundance in a way that also like I'm able to create value to then exchange, but then how do you not get into the situation where it's just composting, and rotting away, which is okay, but it's not the most ideal case for fresh fruit. And then it's like almost like would the farmers be putting the responsibility to make sure it doesn't rot like onto the hub, or is that like I don't know. It's just like
see I think that's one of the crucial questions to answer. But the way I answer it, the way I like to say it is like, you as the grower, you as the farmer get to set your price. So if you want to sell your bananas for like $50 a pound, go for it. And we'll list it on here and we'll say this is David's bananas for $50 a pound. And if those people recognize the quality and they want to buy it at $50 a pound and they fly off the shelf because it's free market, awesome. Most likely, if you list it at $50 a pound and you sign the agreement that says either you're going to come back and pick them up by a certain date, or we're gonna take as it a donation to us what and will reasonable value a donation, and then we'll make it into nutrients and then eat it, pigs, other people, compost, some way of getting ferments, whatever, some sort of disposal policy that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then that agreement is there. So you as the farmer, if you come in and you say, well, I just want to sell my bananas for $1 a pound, and they fly off the shelf, then and all those dollars went there, you make more money. So does that make sense? Like, you as the farmer, you get to set your price, even though we're hosting it for you, and then maybe there's some percentage known fee on there.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's a little bit different than maybe how a typical grocery store would work for some things, at least. Because I know like a taro farmer in Pahoa, he'll just sell the taro for a price per pound, and he'll get that right then and there, because maybe and then the grocery store is taking on the responsibility of like, if it goes bad, but maybe they have data or observations where they know that it will go quick.
And they do, and that's why the grocery store buys it from him for cheap. Mm-hmm. They say, "Oh, we'll give you $2 a pound for this."
Yeah.
When it should be like $5 or $10, but
they
are taking the risk, and then they're making,
Yeah, they sell it for $4.99 a pound, and I think they buy it for like $1.99 or $2.99. Like, not. I don't know. I think high quality taro is like really nice.
So they're doubling the price though.
Yeah.
So think of that. And if the food hub was only taking like 5-10%, even 25%,
he might be. Yeah, if he was just selling it to the hub, he might
be able to sell it for, same $5,
or at least a middle ground. But I mean, it just shows that he's willing to. I don't know, because maybe I don't know what that's worth of that like responsibility of like, well, I know that the Natch, there's this many people that are going through there every day, whereas like, that
you'd have to build up traffic. And at first, I think the way to do it is to have them localized, small food hubs. Like imagine there was one on Hawaiian Acres, right on like 8 Road, or right on 9 Road, where or that middle road that comes in, where everyone could pull up, and there was like a food hub exchange, like a warehouse. It's not the best area; it floods right there. But imagine there was these warehouses where you could, and ahead of time you could let them know, hey, I'm gonna bring in bananas or this amount, and there was like this thing where it rewarded you for keeping better inventory, so that way they could kind of help pre-sell and know how much food's coming through. And when you first start, you just have one in Popico, but then all of a sudden now you start having a warehouse in Hilo, and a few in Hilo, maybe 2 or 3 on each side of town, where it's like, okay, the people from Waikea can bring their produce there, and then that gets exchanged. Because if I bring in 1,000 pounds of limes to Popico, who the hell's gonna buy 1,000 pounds of limes in that area, unless they're going out to Hamakua in those ways? But you need to distribute that. So what happens is you start with just one food hub, but then multiple happen. And you start to get interchanges between, and now our food supply is starting to come from these regions where they'll be really productive. It'll get exchanged and it'll go to these other regions. And as you're bringing, like just like we were talking about bringing the mulch from Waikoloa over here, now every time that truck's moving, it's bringing like guavas from this side over to get mangoes from that side. And then it's coming back, or avocados and taro and sweet potato. And now these trucks are moving between food hubs. And also, because we have the same app to buy the produce, we know where all the food is distributed amongst things, and use that same system to distribute it. And so now you went from one food hub in one area to now linking multiple food hubs together. And because these things are just warehouses, you just, palletize stuff, move it, app it, just like an Amazon warehouse, except for like, refrigerated or taken care of in a way where it's, can move it with forklifts and be really efficient. And now you got a whole food system coming from right here. And that could build into, same like I said, like post-processing from that even. Where you say, oh, okay, Farmers Union had so much taro coming through the food hub network that now we got to make a flour mill to make taro flour. Or the Ulu Co-op is one extension, and working with the Ulu Co-op to work with these food hubs. More co-ops, more things, more food hubs. Is that
more farmers, more families, yeah.
So I'm excited because I that's my I end up with so much abundance extra that I wanna be able to, because I know everyone runs into that problem at different times. And if we start to share, then we don't have times where we wish we had a bunch of food. It's like everyone has abundance and starts to exchange. Then we have so much abundance, now we're making ferments and flours and pigs and chickens and all these things that can thrive on a working food system.
Yeah.
So does that resonate?
Yeah, definitely resonates. Yeah, I think it's a priority to build more community and food hubs, and sharing abundance throughout. And yeah, I really hope that within the next like 5 months that there'll be a lot more food growing here. I think it's totally possible and doable. It's just a matter of action. But
well, it's a matter of priorities, action, and then also equipment.
Priorities, action, and equipment. How are we doing right now?
We're about an hour in. We're just about to. I just want to encourage everybody to join into our second hour of the Microbial Secret Society.
Is there where we could take a pause for
So
a restroom break?
hang on, we'll finish out our hour strong,
Okay.
and then we're gonna pause and get fresh
Right
for our second hour. And yes, I just before the free hour ends, I just want to shout out Joe. He just emailed me the other day. So we've been getting some fans here.
Really?
Yeah, so I'll make
Any
sure.
questions or anything?
Questions, it's hard to say. But yeah, people do reach out on the show, and I want to encourage you to reach out, especially to David, and talk to him about all this stuff. Yeah, but here it is. I pulled it up here. So he says he's in. His name's Joe, and he's up in Alaska.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, and he's wanting to do more Korean natural farming. And just want to encourage anybody who's interested. Today there was a question in the natural farming group, Korean natural farming. Is there a natural farming podcast? And somebody besides me suggested the Microbial Secret, and then I also suggested it, and I gave him the actual website. But he said, it's pay to play, and I was like, no, the first hour is totally free. So I just want to encourage you and everybody out there listening right now to share the first hour, get it out, spread the microbial consciousness, and then if you so choose, join us for the second hour.
Yeah, join us for the second hour for some microbial secret adventures and fun.
Okay, so we're going to take a small break, and we'll be back for the second hour.
Right on.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Well, that's it for our free episode, so join us at www.microbialsecret.org for the full episode and join the Microbial Secret Society. So may the beneficial microbes be with you. Aloha.